What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 13 of the Milwaukee Brewers Out of the Park Baseball 25 series. We're here June 2nd, 2029. The Brewers are 36-21, 5.5 games up on the Pirates, who have not really been a competitor in this division throughout the save. They've yet to even win 76 games, but now in second place. Moving ahead of our kind of rivals at this point. The Cardinals have fallen way off. The Reds have been okay during the save. They've also fallen off. And the Cubs, it's been brutal for them. I don't know if they were any good last year. Yeah, they were okay. They've been consistent throughout the save, but looks like they're at the end of their competitive window with this squad. Still PCA. He's a good player, but Dansby Swanson's fallen all the way off. Things aren't great for them. They do have Andrew Nardi, who has turned into a really good starter, on pace to throw 191 innings. Wow. I might have to kind of evaluate the way that I look at stamina, because Nardi threw 179 innings. I noticed that generally this game is kind of slow to pull starters, and I've made that adjustment in my own personal strategy page. Unfortunately, I can only go so low. Gabe Kapler doesn't give me a ton of control on what I can do. I am trying to hook relievers a little bit quicker this time. Lefty-righty matchup, that's all fine. So, this stuff I'm kind of working on perfecting for our team. So, let me change his pitch count. So we'll get to why Viduri's up. Unfortunately, there was an injury for Tanner Bybee. Okay, the numbers don't look good, but he got off to such a bad start, and he actually started to pitch really well in his last few, but unfortunately tore his labrum, so he'll be out for likely the rest of the season. Maybe for playoffs he'll be back. Really unfortunate after we just gave him that decent contract extension. Unfortunate, but Ramiro Viduri will come in and make his first career start. That's the reason I kind of stopped this at this point, because I'm really excited. He did make one appearance earlier in the year. I brought him up for a little relief spot. We kind of needed an arm that day, so Viduri will make his second career appearance, but his first start, hopefully first of many for us. Bradley Blaylock, he's been okay. Kind of got roughed up in a few starts that kind of killed his numbers for the year, but overall he's been solid. Hagen Smith's been really, really good. 84 FIP minus. Not giving up a ton of home runs. I don't know if that will sustain. Kind of anticipating a little bit regression, but I think he's still a good back of the rotation arm. George Kirby has struggled recently. Got off to a good start, but the home run ball kind of killing him in the last few starts. Again, kind of one of those things where my manager loves to keep him in long. I know 3 innings isn't a long time, but like 6 innings, 6 runs, I don't know, maybe a little bit quicker of a pull on him. But he's eaten a lot of innings for us this year, so I can't be too upset. I think Gavin Stone's been a bit disappointing this year. The peripherals are about as good as they've ever looked. But yeah, the results just haven't been there yet. I still think he's going to be fine. And then, Bybee was really bad when he was out there, but was starting to turn things around before he got hurt. Offensively, actually, let's go to the bullpen first. We've kind of figured things out. The start to the year was really, really, really bad. We ranked second in bullpen ERA, but that was down at 14th after the first month. It was really bad. We lost a ton of... we lost a ton of close games at the beginning of the year that our bullpen just kind of gave up. This 8-9 loss here. We were running DL Hall as the closer for a bit. He lost that spot. It's hard to explain what happened here, but just looking at the box scores, the bullpen, this one. And this is a pretty perfect example of what happened. So Stone gave us a pretty good start, and then back end of the bullpen just cannot close it out. Wound up losing 8-5. So yeah, I mean that's that. there's really no standout guys. Carlos Rodriguez has been excellent. Kyle Hurt's been good, but the peripherals are a little questionable. Walking a lot of guys, not striking out a ton. But he has been really, really good recently. His first month of the year was not good. The April stats don't look horrible, but he was actually worse than that. He turned it on at the end. So far in May has been excellent. So it's been a good signing thus far. DL Hall has turned things around, but another guy who his first month of the year, 5.52 ERA, doesn't tell the full story. He was really much worse than that. And in May and in June, so far so good. Carlos Rodriguez has been consistently good throughout the year, so I can't really be, do those splits with him. He's just been great. Alex Vesia, another guy, got off to a tough start. His April ERA, 7.59. In May, much better at a 1.12. Strzelski's been hurt a little bit. Again, he's just not the pitcher he was, but he's actually gotten some decent results so far in 13 innings. Edward Cabrera has taken a step back this year. Another guy. April was brutal. May much better. So as you can see, April was just a bad month. Efros, same story. April, 7.04 ERA. May, much better. Patricio Aquino back with the team after missing basically the last season and a half. When did he go out? So he went out. Let's see. September of 27, missed 14 months. So he missed all of 2028 and then got hurt again in spring training or in the preseason. I guess, a third of an inning into spring training. He threw like 3 pitches and then had this nerve entrapment thing, 3 to 4 months. And now he's worked his way back and he's finally back with the team, which is cool. And he's still a pretty good pitcher. So I'm going to give him a little bit of run, see what he can do out of the pen. He's not going to be a full-time reliever for us. He has one more option year, so he's going to be a guy we're going to bounce back from the minors and the majors and stuff like that. Offensively, man, it's been really good, at least from our top guys. So Jackson Churio, man, having his finally full, real breakout season as a superstar player. On pace for 9.6 WAR, has been, knock on wood, very healthy. Hasn't missed any time. I am still benching him under 97% stamina. This seems to work pretty well. Try to limit guys' injuries and stuff when they're fragile. The BABIP is pretty high, so I don't know if he's going to sustain these numbers, but he's been great to start the season. Brett Beatty, man, this has been a great signing so far. It had good vibes when I signed him. I just kind of felt right bringing him in. He was kind of the perfect piece, and he's been great. A 407 BABIP tells me he's probably bound for some regression for sure. But if he can give us 10% above league average at the bat for the full season, good defense at third, that's going to be a great signing. So far, so good. Royce Lewis has been great. Nothing really to be upset about. The walk rate's gone way up. We'll see if he can sustain that. Just really good from Royce. Correa has been really, really solid. Good hitter. Still good at the glove over at shortstop. It's kind of the guy that he is at this point. League average hitter with a really good glove. Juan Soto has been disappointing. I think a lot of it's attributed to a low BABIP. He's never going to be a high BABIP guy because a lot of his OPS is made up from his eye and his power, not necessarily his average or his speed doing any of the helping, doing any of the hard work. It's still bizarre to me that he stole 29 bases last year. I didn't change anything this season. He's only stolen 4. That was a crazy season for him, though. I don't know what the hell happened. He's been great in his age 30 season. He's been great overall, but not the player we've seen for the last 3 years or so. Blake Perkins has played a little bit. He got hurt for a couple weeks. He's come back, and he's playing a little bit, not too much. Brock Wilkins has been disappointing. I still have faith that he'll turn things around. But it's been a tough start for the year for him. Roderick Arias, getting a little bit of playing time, playing around the field, a little bit third base, some second, some short. Been much better defensively, which is good. The walk rates ticked way up. Strikeout rates come down so far, only 105 plate appearances. He's dealing with something right now, but he'll be fine, hopefully. Andy Pages has been better this year. The walk rate was up. Now it's back down. The strikeout rate's down 3% or so, which is good. We worked on that in the offseason. Would like to see him hit for a little bit more pop. It hasn't really been there. The BABIP's up, but the overall offense isn't up too much. So, I don't know. We'll see with Pages. It's been a bit disappointing in a year that I thought he could bounce back. Jefferson Kiro, a guy who has not really played well offensively. His blocking it's gone up to an 80 at this point, which is really cool. His framing's still solid, but I think we can get a little bit better. I'd expect a little bit better, I should say. And he's no longer looking for an extension because he's played like shit. But he's not like a black hole as a player at this point. But hoping for a little bit more. Matthew Wood hasn't really played too much. Maybe a guy we should have just moved in the offseason while his value was sky high. Anthony Gutierrez, a guy we got in a trade with Houston last offseason, or spring training. What was this deal? Was this along with Juan Chico this is for the Sergio Pineda character and Hedbert Perez. Okay. Yeah. He's played a little bit. Hit a couple home runs in a couple games. That was good, but overall the numbers haven't been crazy. And Luis Lara got hurt. He hurt his quad again. Where the heck is this? He tore his quad out for 2 months. That was the offseason thing, the freak accident, or he was running with his teammates or something. And then he tore his quad again. So hopefully this isn't like his quad's just shot at this point from freaking running laps with his teammates. But yeah, not looking great. Liam Peterson, really excited. He's finally back from injury. He started 4 games in AA. Was really good in those starts. I called him up to AAA. He's been good in 3 starts here. I hope he's on the injured list. He is good. But yeah, he's out again. I'm hoping injuries aren't going to be a part of his career, but he already, his stamina dropped, I think. I don't know if our scouting will even show that. It won't, but yeah, in the most recent update, I think, well, actually, it would have just been yesterday, so let me go look. Where the heck are you? Liam Peterson. Yeah, stamina dropped from 55 to 45. Not great, but his control did improve. So I think he's finally reaching his ceiling in some ways. David Krause, also good news. He's improved. I played him, 30 games in high A, called him up to AA for 17 games. He's now in AAA. I think he's just ready for that. He hit 7 home runs and 120 plate appearances in high A and hit 6 in 74. And he's not even a power hitter, so I think he's just ready for AAA at this point. I want to go through Ramiro Viduri's first career start here, so let's sim this one. And we lose 4-1. Viduri, not bad, though. 4 2/3, 2 runs. Quino comes in. Cabrera gives up a run. But not much offensively, only 1 run. Okay, so that's that. Is there anything prospect-wise? Cabral struggled in A-ball. I kind of expected that. I kind of just pushed him through to that level this year. Hopefully he comes along at that level at age 20. I talked about Peterson. Vince Jennings hasn't played yet. Fresquehilo hasn't done anything yet. Rookie ball season obviously hasn't started. Talked about Krause. Megalens, he struggled a little bit in AAA. The FIP looks much better than the ERA stuff. It hasn't struck out a ton of guys, walking a few too many. But he's like the next guy up, maybe after Josh Noth, who did come up for a game and pitched 4 really good innings. I just needed a fresh arm for a game, so called him up. Would like to see what this guy, Josh Sarnacki's got at some point. Guy we got for our backup catcher, Will Banfield, our third-string catcher. Eric Becker's down here. He hasn't played well in AAA yet. Bryce Rayner, kind of same story with him. So, yeah, we're 36-22. Again, the first month of the year, not great. We went 14-14 through March and April. In May, 21-7. So, like, a great month of May. As we discussed, things weren't great early on, but we kind of figured out what everyone does and what we can kind of do with this bullpen, and the offense is picking things up. And, yeah, everything's looking pretty good. Outside of the injury to Bybee, Cade Smith got hurt as well. Didn't mention him. He was pitching well. Not a huge injury or anything. Abner Uribe is still out for 2 more months. It'd be nice to get him back at some point. And yeah, that's that. So we're going to keep moving forward. We'll come back probably around the draft in that area. All right, folks, we are back. It is July 11th, time for the first year player draft. And we've been pretty good, 16-10 in June. It was a good month. July, 4-5 so far. Not as good. The bullpen started to kind of have its issues again, but overall, it's been fine. The rotation's honestly been pretty underwhelming. George Kirby, again, he did the same thing last year where, like, he wasn't really good. Like, theoretically, he should be better than this. He hasn't, like, cost us a ton of games, but he just has been a little disappointing to start the year. Gavin Stone's turned things around. He had a nice little start the other day and a good run of starts in general. This one wasn't great, but, you know, a couple good ones in a row. He's turning things around. Viduri's been up and down, but there's been a lot of good, especially recently after he had this 3-inning, 8-run performance. He's been really solid in his last 4 starts. He's yet to pick up a win, but still a good arm. Bradley Blaylock's been super consistent recently. Honestly, he's been our best pitcher in the last month or so. He's been great. Hagen Smith's been really solid as a number 5. You can't really ask for any better than that. I guess Viduri would be our 5, but, you know, Smith, all things equal, is our 5th starter. And as you can see, like, the bullpen ERAs have kind of settled in. Cade Smith just came back from injury, has had a couple rough games. But, you know, he was pitching well before the injury. Carlos Rodriguez has come back down to earth. The FIP above 100, which obviously isn't good. But, you know, he's been solid this year. Kyle Hurt's been a great pickup, even if, you know, he's probably overachieving just a bit. But, you know, the results have been great. Alex Vesia's, you know, the peripherals still look good. The triple slash, home run, walk, K stuff looks good. The FIP looks good as a result. The results just haven't come. The BABIP sky high at the moment at 342. Edward Cabrera, you know, continues to kind of overachieve every season, and he's been a really solid middle of the bullpen guy. Scott Efros has had a nice little season. According to FIP, he's probably been our best reliever. Yeah, he has been. And he's been really solid. You know, nothing flashy with him, but keeps the ball in the ballpark, doesn't walk anyone. Just been good for him. And then DL Hall has kind of settled in as a nice middle reliever as well. Tried him in the closer's role, didn't really work. Tried him in a stopper's role, he was better. But I think this is where he belongs. Just kind of one of the guys, get you through the middle innings and give it to these dudes to finish it out. Then Maverick Rizzi is up with the team. A former 4th-round pick back in 2024. Finally, he's made it to the majors. You know, he's pitched 3 games. Nothing really else to say. He's been bad in those games, but we have a ton of injuries to our AAA team right now. Quintero, these are guys in the 40. Quintero, he's out for 4 weeks with a torn labrum. Bryce Rayner out with a fractured foot. And Luke Holman, unfortunately, out with shoulder inflammation. He was a guy who was going to get some opportunities here. But yeah, just hasn't been healthy. We haven't been able to get him on the field. Mengele was up for 5 games, pitched pretty well. The walk and strikeout stuff was not great. So I sent him back down. He's going to get another opportunity here, obviously, but his first showing was so-so. The results were good, but the underlying metrics not as good. Frank Oshel, a guy I want to get up at some point. Just haven't had the opportunity. He's either been just exhausted from pitching so much down in AAA, or we just haven't needed an arm when he's rested. So offensively, Jackson Chiro continues to do his thing. He's been great. Maybe not keeping his initial pace, but that was expected with the BABIP being above 400. Now it's down to a much more reasonable 368, and I think he can sustain this for the rest of the year for sure. Royce Lewis, low-key, has been excellent. He's even slipped a little bit recently, but he's been a huge part of this team. A 140 WRC plus, playing some good defense over at second. This dude's exactly what we signed up for. We're getting him for a bargain. We're paying him like 11 mil, 12 mil a year. He's been great. Juan Soto, he's been good. He's been better. All of his value is going to come from his hitting. So if, his BABIP's 249 and he's not quite, getting a lot of hits, he's not going to accumulate any WAR. Last year he accumulated 6 WAR despite not playing the field for 1 inning. His steals are up a little bit this year. That's good. Still stealing at a decent clip. I'd prefer above 80%, but above 75 is acceptable. He's been good. Not his best, but he's been good. Brett Beatty continues to play really well. On pace for 4 WAR as a part-time player in 130 games would be excellent. He stabilized third base. Him and Arias have done a good job over there. Arias not doing it with the bat, but his glove work has been solid when he's been called upon. Not playing as much as Beatty, obviously, the weak side of the platoon, but those guys have stabilized third base at the very worst. And even in Brett Beatty's case, he's been excellent. Brock Wilken, he's turned things around after a tough start. The numbers on the year still not maybe as impressive as a couple of years back when I guess he was an All-Star in 27, but he won the Silver Slugger last year. I still think he's a great player, good guy to have in the middle of the order. Carlos Correa continues to keep pace, league average hitter, great glove. He's kind of been that guy since we got him. Yeah, literally, he's been, no better or no worse than 10%, 10 plus or minus 10% of league average hitting wise. And, he racks up 3.5 WAR every year. He's on pace for that as well this year. So good stuff. Jefferson Kiro hitting a lot better. Good season for him, nothing special, but he's a good defensive player. Kind of the heart and soul of this team. Andy Pa has been a little disappointing. Obviously, the strikeout rate's ticked up since getting it down to 27%. Now he's up to 29%. The power hasn't been there, which is odd. The BABIP has come up, but just not providing any power. It's tough to see, and I don't really know what Paz's future has in store. And it's sad because he had such a good first year, man. It was special what he did that in 2027. Then the last 2 years have not been good. Matthew Woods barely played. He's a backup catcher. We'll see if we can deal him at the deadline, potentially. We don't really need a backup catcher. Kiro's about as durable as they come. Luis Lara, it's it's been a mixed bag. He's played better recently, but he's kind of been pushed into a part-time player role. Josh Sarnacki's up with the team. Crazy, triple slash here. 105 average, but a 320 on base. A 125 BABIP, he's walking 24% of the time. Just not a big enough sample size to make any judgments on him. He's going to stay up with the team for now. Blake Perkins has struggled. He'll probably be on his way out as we move toward the deadline. And then other guys who've been up, Isaac Pacheco got some run in the beginning of the year. He started to turn things around, but I just didn't have a spot for him on the roster, so we sent him back down. His numbers on the year, 70 WRC plus, 98 plate appearances, not great. Anthony Gutierrez got some run, 100 plate appearances, Didn't do much with it. Good defensive player, but not much else at this point. Eduardo Garcia hasn't been up with the team yet. Yeah, that's about it. Aquino was up, but yeah, he struck out 3.2 guys per 9, walked 4.8 in 5.2 innings. Obviously, such a small sample size, but yeah, he was up at some point. Okay, so we have the 31st pick in the draft. All hitters, so all players, just looking for anyone. Doesn't look like a lot of college guys. Mike Watson, the first college guy I'm seeing. Pretty good arm. I would take him for sure. Yeah, mostly high school dudes here, which is interesting. Yeah, we'll see what falls to us here. Alex Harrington, a name that I remember from our Nashville Stampede series last year. He actually wound up being like a nice utility player, but not a great player by any means. Okay, I want to see who Chicago takes with the first pick. They take Dave Yeager. Okay. Interesting pick. Greg Wilkie, so a couple 3-pitch guys going early. A first baseman goes third. I think someone's going to fall to us that we really like. Jose Olisway, that's a crazy name. Jose Olisway. Man, I don't hate it. Just, if nothing else, for the name. That's cool. Is that College Arm still here? He is. That's not him. Yeah, it looks like that a college pitcher went that I kind of liked. Just looking for other like 21-year-olds. Someone who's well developed. There's not much here. Tim Westbrook's not bad, but we have a ton of third baseman types. Here we go. Some college arms. It doesn't really do much for me, though, unfortunately. So we're probably going to wind up throwing a dart at a high school guy. I don't love it, but it is what it is. Mike Fisher's interesting, actually. That eye, the power profile, could be a pretty good player, like almost immediately. So lefty, he doesn't have any crazy splits. He can play a corner outfield spot for sure. And that eye is super intriguing. He's durable. So Mike Fisher, a guy that I like. Maybe not this round. Jared Goudet, kind of a toned down version, not the eye. A little bit better defense, maybe. Has some pitching ratings as well. Not much there, though. Nate Locke, don't love him. First baseman, Bob Martin's 20. Yeah, there's not a ton of college guys here. Yeah, okay. So Jose Olisway, like him. Nate Carroll, he's okay. His pitchers, this guy's interesting. Yusuf Holbrook, 6 fingers. Another cool nickname. Slider, curveball, changeup, sinker, splitter. Good pitch mix. Keeps the ball on the ground, which I like. Good build. Pretty far along for an 18-year-old. Dan Bailey doesn't play much defense. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. I like him. The home run stuff concerns me a bit. But Garibay, a nice player. Jelinas is also pretty good. David Jacob doesn't really have a fourth pitch. Jesus Morales is all right. He's got some good personality stuff. Chris Myers, 3-pitch guys, whatever. Yeah, there's so many guys to go through. Okay, let me, I'm going to pause this here. We'll come back with the pick, because this might take a bit. All right, after going through, I like Jose Olisway, but I think I'm going to pass on him and take Yusuf Holbrook, just a guy that I really like. And I don't really want to pass up. And we have a pick coming up in a couple picks anyway. For the comp pick, yeah. So we have to, maybe he's there in 6 guys. I also want Vince Jennings too. So 2 guys that I really like. So Yusuf Six Fingers Holbrook, cool nickname. Looks like he could be a good player potentially. Time will tell if he turns out to be a good player. But offer him slots, and Olisway is still there. And the other guy that I liked was the outfielder. What the heck was his name? Oh, boy. I think he was a 55 potential. Unless he went. I'd be kind of surprised. Maybe he did. Draft log. Yep, Mike Fisher went the pick before. Shit. I really wanted Mike Fisher there, but that sucks. But that does make things easy, I guess. We are going to go for Olisway. There was really no one else that I was blown away by going through this list, so we'll take him under slot, which is cool. And then some other guys that I liked. This pitcher was pretty good. No one really stuck out to me. There's a lot of good players, don't get me wrong, but it's no one was a can't-miss dude down here. So, yeah, this is going to take a little bit to go through this draft, I think, just because, there are no guys that were really sticking out to me. Bob Martin is a guy I really like. Some good theoretical upside. If he can add some power. Has the glove. A couple tweaks. He could be a shortstop. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna jump out of this one. Usually I like to do the first couple picks, but this is gonna take a little bit of time to do. So yeah, we'll be back with the results of the draft in just a sec. All right, so I have 2 trades lined up. I'm not really sure how this is gonna play out. I'm gonna talk myself through it. So I have this deal for Reed Detmers, a guy I've been going after for years. We finally have the opportunity as he's gonna hit free agency in 4 months or so. We're going to wind up giving up a pretty decent package. It'll be Matthew Wood, who's a guy I kind of figure I might have to include in a deal this deadline. Eric Becker, former 2nd-round pick. Also, I was thinking back to that draft because I was looking at the Yankees and my boy Jason DeCaro. I was debating between him and Becker at this pick in 2026 in 2nd round. I went with Becker because I had done DeCaro in the Marlins series, and DeCaro was a total beast. So that sucks. I should have just went with my gut and took DeCaro because we got stuck with freaking Eric Becker, who's not really that good. But, he's a useful piece here in this trade. Can't go back and repeat that. He went 5 picks before DeCaro. We're also going to give DL Hall in this deal, who's had a nice little bounce-back season after 2 rough years, but he's a free agent after the season. If we're going to get Detmers and get a good starter, I'm okay giving up Hall, Noah Sheffield, and Slade Caldwell. A bit less of a throw-in, but still a throw-in in my mind. I just don't really see a major league player here. Despite his good bat-to-ball skills, he just doesn't hit for power, doesn't have a good eye. He's fast and he plays decent defense, but this is a career minor leaguer in my mind. So, it's a pretty good deal. pretty good haul to give up for Reed Detmers for 4 months or whatever. 3 months if we don't go that deep into playoffs, or even 2 months. It's a lot, but I think Detmers is a good player, and there's a chance we could even re-sign him potentially if he doesn't want that much money. I'm not really sure what his contract looks like, but it's that deal or one other guy who's on the trade block, Yuri Perez. So, and this actually might wind up being both of these deals. I made it so that each of these deals can work independently. There's not like overlapping players or anything, which is pretty cool. The big piece in this one would be Luis Lara, who is fragile at this point, and he's dealt with some injuries. Hasn't really been that good when he's been out there. I still like Luis Lara, but he's not like an untradeable guy for me. So he's like the biggest piece in this deal. Sarnacki is another guy they really liked. He's only gotten 8 plate appearances. He's that guy we got in the trade for Atlanta before the season for Will Banfield. So he's like the other big piece. And then Aiden Cleggett's an okay player, former 10th round pick a couple of years back. He's a decent player. Esmir Suarez, Jax Bishop, kind of nothing prospects. And Cash Mayfield, who, back in 2025 thought might have been a good player, but he didn't really work out. Him and Quintero in the Bryce Turang deal. This trade was kind of a lose-lose because Turang wasn't really that great for Boston either. No one really made out well on that one. But anyway, that'd be the trade for Yuri Perez. We'd eat half of this deal. And again, both of these deals can still go through independently because none of the players overlap. It's just a matter of, do I want to do both of them? I think the Perez one's actually like a trade I like better, but I don't know if I like the player as much. Perez, I didn't even really go over him, but he's had a so-so season, giving up a few too many home runs. The strikeouts are up from last year, and they're, he's been a good pitcher through the save, but he hasn't been like insanely good outside of his first season. He's more been like a really solid starter, and did deal with some injuries last year. It was let me see. Oh, partially torn UCL. So he missed a lot of last season. Unsuccessfully usable. Okay. Yeah. So, I like Yuri Perez a lot. And I think I'm going to do both of these trades. I like Kirby and Stone at the top. And then outside of that, like, I think Viduri's going to be a good pitcher, but he's not like great right now. Blaylock's had a great season. He'll probably stay in the rotation, but moving Hagen Smith to the bullpen, I think would be a better use of his skill. He's been good as a starter, but he does struggle against righties, which is a concern of mine. And I think his stuff would play up well in the bullpen. And then, these guys will be back in the rotation next year regardless, so it's not like a huge deal long term. Like neither of these guys are going to block their path to playing time. So I think I'm going to go through both of these trades. Why the hell not? Like, we're not giving up an insane amount. Like, there's no future all-stars in these deals, I don't think. Like, the best player in this one's Luis Lara, Sarnacki, who we kind of got for free. Lara's a good player, but he's not great. And then in this deal, it's Matthew Wood, who's 28. Like, he's my backup catcher, and he's 28. He's going to be due for arbitration this year. And backup catchers are pretty easy to come by. Eric Becker, second-round pick, but he hasn't played well in AAA, and DL Hall is a free agent. So, like, these kind of seem like two no-brainer deals. So I'm going to do both of them. Screw it. Let's do it. Let's go for it this year. And I knew this was going to happen because that always happens when you do one deal, the team gets pissed off for some reason. But there's, like, we could just add a nothing player here. Sure, we'll throw in this guy for you. Actually, let's give him a legit guy. This guy's 23, sure. So we'll pick up Yuri Perez. So that's like that's probably all we have room to do this deadline. Yeah, pretty crazy 2 trades there. These guys will both get added to our active roster, both slide into the rotation. Detmers pitched the other day. Perez is good to go. So let's actually do... This should be fine. So we'll move Detmers into the rotation. Viduri, we'll put him in the bullpen for now. Actually, we'll probably run out of space for these guys. Maverick Rizzi's up. Viduri's rested. So, you know what? Let's send down Maverick Rizzi. We need a couple of hitters up here because we did trade our backup catcher, our starting or partially starting left fielder. And I would love to make an upgrade in the outfield, but I kind of think David Aguilar is pretty much there. I think he's almost ready. We have Anthony Gutierrez, who will get the call up here. David Krause is almost here, so that's exciting. He's up in AAA. And we do need to find a backup catcher. I think it'll be Hudson White. We don't have another catcher on the 40, do we? No, we don't. Macon Winslow, I like. He just doesn't really have much defensive ability. It might just be worth calling him up anyway, though. I mean, we can call both these dudes up. Why not? Let's do both. So White can be our true backup at catcher. Winslow, does he have any outfield ability? He can play a corner spot. We'll have Gutierrez be our backup outfielder, though. Winslow can back up DH. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The concerns come against lefties, I guess, but I think Gutierrez will be just fine out there. We'll have Hudson White, Macon Winslow, and Blake Perkins can back up the whole outfield. So that actually works well. It sucks to give up Luis Lara, but we just got a couple ace level pitchers to slide in for the rest of the year. So I think it's going to wind up being a good trade. So I forgot to go through the rest of the draft. So let's do that. It wasn't too good. We took Holbrook in the first round. We took Jose Olis Way in the supplemental round. We took Steve Pearce, not the current. I guess not current, but not the first baseman for like the Red Sox and what other teams was he even on? The A's. The A's come to mind, but I don't think he was on the A's. That's Steve Pearce, so it's not him. We took him in the second round. Garibay we took in the third round. Decent player. Alpha Gutrick. I like his defense. Hitting's not bad. He's 21. Joey Malash, high upside hitter, with the K issues. Took him in the fifth round. Steven Squalls, catchers. I always like having these guys in the system. Tommy Simmons, decent upside for a 7th round pick. Ben Layton, a nice reliever prospect. Tim Hollabaugh. Bunch of good pitches. A really nice pitch mix. Curveball, screwball, changeup, splitter, cutter, knuckle curve. Like one of the most unique pitch mixes I've ever seen. I hope he works out because that'd be a fun player. This guy, catcher, Amari Gales. Then things kind of fell off. Eric Peterson, Juan Moncada. Yeah, and then a couple of relievers and stuff. Nothing too crazy here at the end. So yeah, we're going to keep Simmons forward. I don't know if there's any other moves to be made. Maybe another outfielder, but we'll see how the next few weeks go before we pull the trigger on anything like that. Okay, so we made one final trade, a little bit more under the radar thing. Ian Happ, 34 years old, on a 1-year deal with Minnesota. We gave up just pretty much nothing. Peter Strzelski, who had regressed for us this season, unfortunately. Really liked him when he was good, but unfortunately, things did not really end well here for him with his regression. But we pick up Ian Happ. At least he brings leadership. He brings a good switch hitting bat. He's slightly better against righties, I would say, but pretty equal against both. So, he's going to start primarily against righties, and we're still going to have Gutierrez in there against lefties. Do want to mix happen a little bit there. But yeah, this really deepens our order. We do have David Aguilar up because Jackson Churio did get hurt. Aguilar's played 5 games for us. Former first-round supplemental pick. Yeah. It was a day-to-day injury. It wasn't like huge on his abilities or anything, but we were playing so well. Like, I just felt like we should just sit him down and let him heal up fully for the playoff run because we do not need him getting hurt here. And things have been going so well. It's like, let's just take a step back and, like we've been cruising since that trade. I think it was on the 11th. Yeah, we won, 4 or 5 before the All-Star break. Then we lost the first one coming out of the break, and then won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, and counting. So it's been a really, really good run for us in the month of July. 15-7. We're 66-38. God, 19 and a half games up in the division. So there's no need to panic. Churio, go on the IL, dude. Get healthy. We'll see in probably September. Like, honestly. So yeah, that's gonna be all we're gonna do. I think this team is about as good as it gets. We gotta hope for Pages to improve, but like even if he sucks, like the rest of this lineup is really, really good. Brett Beatty's just been destroying baseballs this year. On pace for 4 WAR. Correa's been about a league average hitter with a great glove. Like, if those are your 2 like worst everyday players, it's pretty good. And Churio will be back, and Aguilar will either get pushed back to the minors or be a 4th outfielder for us. So as long as Soto, Lewis, Wilkin, Kiro are all hitting well, and Correa and Beatty continue their pace, Pages maybe we'll get a couple more home runs out of him. He's only hit 10 so far. Really disappointing year for him. I would honestly almost rather have last year's version, or at least he was hitting home runs. This year, it's just been, I don't know. There's not been the home run power. I guess his extra base hits are on pace to be more than last year, but I don't know. We'll see. Ian Happ should be a nice player to add in here as well. So I think that's going to be the end of the episode. The bullpen, like, I'd love to add another guy here, but I think this about as good as it's going to get. Like, I don't even know who I'd take out at this point. They've all played pretty well outside of Vesia, and I still think better days are ahead for him. There are some bodies out here. Do I think any of these guys are really an upgrade? I don't know. Maybe Matsui's making a lot of money. Moran's a guy I like, but he's basically Alex Vesia. I don't know. I think we're going to roll with this into the second half. David Bednar, they wanted a king's ransom for him. Unfortunately, we just don't have that in our disposal. So that'll be the end of the episode. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time for the playoffs. Again, we're 20 games up, so looking pretty good for the division, but still got to end strong, keep everyone healthy. We should be good to go. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.